For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com. We are
Am I running yet?
I see you.
You're live.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening then? This Random Thoughts with DVP. Today is the 25th of May, 2022. I got a couple of guests coming on, but let me go on and get this monologue out right quick, because this is what the show is going to be about. I was trying to hold my peace, because that's what I do. I got Mo here to put his hand on my shoulder to keep me calm and be the voice of sanity. Because again, this is where we're gonna speak. It's not necessarily my truth. It is the truth, and I don't have to agree with it all, but it doesn't change the fact that it is what it is. I've watched 2 shootings in the past, I don't know, 7, 8 days. I don't know how long it is. You know, we're so immune to shootings now. And we talked last week or the week before about how our not wanting to be a snitch and not wanting this leads to our path of destruction. Well, let me tell you what else leads our path to destruction. And I'm gonna have several guests talk about this. Because as we are all free thinkers and we don't want to be sheeple and all the good shit, we woke, we got third eyes and all this shit that requires surgery, but we ain't got good insurance, but that's a whole nother show. We're complaining religiously about gas prices and the POTUS, because that's what the Russian bots and people that look like us who want to be woke tell us. But no president in the history of presidential presidents has ever controlled gas prices. And if you do the research, reach out to me. I'll even share mine with you for those of y'all who can't use your smartphone. Every time we have a gas price gouging, you'll notice Exxon, Shell, Chevron, all of them have record profits. Record profits. So how bad is the shortage really if they're all making all this money? But let's blame the POTUS. And I'm okay with you blaming the POTUS. But if you're going to blame POTUS and keep calling him Sleepy Joe and all these other things, then quit saying Obama didn't do shit. Because remember, Obama inherited a shitstorm from Bush and the gas was going up. He got it down, but you keep saying Obama ain't done nothing. Because now when it comes to Obama, we don't want to talk about gas. But anybody who remembers, I know y'all don't, because remember only lasts as good as yesterday. Gas was spiking under Bush when he started the fake war. That it's been proven they didn't have weapons of mass destruction. That was GOP. We don't want to talk about that because they tell you to talk about what Obama didn't do. They don't tell you that Obama established a hate crime bill for Black people. But what they won't tell you is that your local politicians and judges won't apply that bill. So they keep saying we don't have one, but there is one established under Obama Biden. But because your leaders, your woke people, all these fake activists, they won't say that because they're too busy telling you other dumb shit for you to understand that. So as we complain about these gas prices, because gas is kind of high everywhere. It's high where I am, it's high where Mo is, it's high where Roy is, it's gonna be high where my guests are. But I'm gonna ask a quick question during this quick monologue. Mo, raise your hand if you can hear me. What's more important to you, gas prices or your friends dying?
My friends dying.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had more deaths from a pandemic that a POTUS kept secret, and we know he kept it a secret, but we don't talk about that no more. We talk about gas prices. So I'm wondering how you people put $5 gas above your friends and family, because most of us knew, not knew of, we actively knew somebody who died from COVID. We knew. Did we know anybody who died from SARS or any of the 3 pandemics that came under Obama? No, we didn't. But they don't want you to talk about that. Now we don't want you to talk about COVID. So we don't have as many people dying now, even though some won't get the vaccine, but that's neither here nor there. Gas. The POTUS doesn't have he don't have anything to do with that. And I said to say this because this ain't gonna be a political show. But again, hey, Ann is there too. Ann is one of my special guests, so we're gonna get, because I know she gotta go. But again, remember this, under Obama, remember they said, oh, they coming to take your guns because Obama done tried to change the law after Columbine and Sandy Hook, I think was the first one up under him. They tried to change it. And all that the law said was you cannot continue to buy assault type weapons. They were never talking about coming to take them, but they told you, oh, they coming for your guns. 12 years later, they still ain't coming for your guns. That was under Obama Biden, but they don't want to talk about that. Biden And unfortunately, most of the Dems have been saying for the longest, 90% of Americans agree that we should have stronger regulations for buying guns. There is no reason to buy an assault rifle. There is no reason to buy an extended magazine. There is no reason for a regular person to have a ballistic style vest. But you don't talk about that. You talk about these dumbass gas prices. Every single time a school has been shot up, and as you look at the banner below, you'll see all the schools that have had a shooting. This list will last you probably 5-6 minutes, and we're going to run it again. I will send it to you, but we don't talk about that. All they said was all that Obama and Biden asked for is that, one, you can't buy assault rifles no more. Two, you got to have a waiting period to even buy regular guns. Now, as we talk about all these school shootings, I want y'all to do the research because I don't want y'all to trust me because I have an agenda. How many of these shootings were done with their parents' weapons? Most of these shootings were done with legally purchased weapons. Newly and legally purchased because they didn't have a standard. They didn't have a waiting period. But they got you talking about gas. They got you talking about gas. Mo, you know about who died because they couldn't afford gas?
No.
And you know about who died because they couldn't afford gas?
Not one.
But we see all these shootings occur over and over again with the same exact script. They went out and bought a gun at 17 or 18. They bought an assault rifle. They got extended magazines. They got all this shit that they could legally purchase and no red flags, no nothing. But the people who are woke with third eyes telling you to do something about a president because of gas and inflation. So that's all I want to say. Use your own metric, do your own research. But I got Ann here, who's a teacher and a parent and one of the most honest women I know. And I met Ann on another show and I said some things that weren't directed at Ann, but Ann came in and she said, I was just like that. And it's always impressive. What I tell y'all, we can never get better if we don't ever look in the mirror and say where we made a mistake or we didn't make the right choice. And when I made the statement about us not appreciating our nosy neighbors who watch out over us, and stepped in and said, I was that person. I had a neighbor, I moved to my house, I didn't want nobody, I was just doing my little thing, and one of my neighbors said something, and then she changed her methodology. You learn to appreciate these people. We have to look out for each other. I didn't know that was Ann's case, and I didn't even call out, but she stepped right on in and she told her story. I had to appreciate that. I'm gonna just say this about Ann before I let her introduce herself. Ann said something else when we first met, which made me cyber fall in love with her. She said that she has a great relationship with her child's father. When he wants to come see the child, and he asked to come see the child outside of his 4.5 days that he's court allowed, if he want to get the child, Ann says she stopped what she's doing to make it happen. But he's an example of a great dad, and they are examples of great co-parenting. She ain't trying to keep the child away from the father. And when he want to see it, Ann does what I tell y'all most good mothers will do. And what me and Mo said earlier, kids prefer presents, P-R-E-N-C-E, over presents. They don't need the gifts. They want your time. When Ann's child's father wants to see the child, Ann makes the child available. End of story. That's what I'm gonna have on the show when we start talking about that and all this drama y'all talking about. But today we want to talk about the schools and what's going on and the safety issues. Because y'all know I'm passionate about this because I was a cop, I was military. But I needed some school teachers, somebody who worked in the system to give us their opinion. Because I'm hating when I hear, oh, we need to arm these, we need to give these teachers guns. Ain't got enough shit, excuse me, Ann, for speaking for you. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. Ain't got enough shit to do without worrying about having a gun. And got students, because guess what teachers have to also be? They got to be counselors. When one of her students is depressed or something, Ann will notice that. Ann can't give her student a hug now because she may have a gun on her. She got to worry about that because now we want her to be a teacher, a counselor, a nurse, a therapist, and a cop. And a cop. So every time she hears a noise now, she don't know where she got to go to her desk to unlock a drawer to get prepared for something. And even if we gave Ann a gun, which is sheer stupidity, ladies and gentlemen, most of these school shooters are not attacking with handguns. A handgun is effective if you're great up to 25 yards, if you are a great shot. A rifle, if you are a bad shot, is effective at almost 100 yards. So what is Ann gonna do when whoever she's trying to help these kids out can shoot from 3 times further away than she can shoot? and she's got to worry about protecting the kids as well. But we worried about gas prices. So, Ann, introduce yourself for me right quick. I'm sorry.
Hello, panel. I am Ann. I am from Rex, Georgia, a mom of two. I'm a correct Darren. I'm actually a principal. I'm no longer a teacher. I've been a principal for about 5 years now. Absolutely love what I do. I teach I caregive for K through 6th grade.
So I knew some of this. I'm sorry. I demoted her. But she got more information because she ain't just a teacher now. She's an agent of change. When you want something done at a school, oh, she's gonna be on the school show now. Oh, she done volunteered for shit and didn't even know it. But she was talking about some of the things that go on in schools, and I asked another teacher to come because I want them to explain how hard it is to one, and I ain't knocking y'all parents, but it's already hard to teach kids whose parents are not helping with the process, don't know the process, or just simply struggling and don't have the time. This is more shit you piling onto them. When there's a school shooting, Principal Ann, what's your first emotion?
Scared. My first emotion is scared. One, because I'm a parent. I have 2 children my own self. So my first thing is nervousness. However, I do understand the way of the world and wicked will always be here. So I don't want to be so scared that we are not continuing with the things that we need to be doing and not focusing on the things that we need to be focused on. So opposed to sitting today and talking about the stories and, going through it, I went through the process of how can I better secure my building? What is going to be a better way to secure my building? I called up my security company. I've had them to come in and put panic buttons in all of my classrooms. We now have making certain that all the intercoms are working inside the classrooms. We practice our escape plans. We practice our barricading today. Just making sure that we're key on things that we need to be key on. I think because things have not hit home, we become a lot complacent with the things that we're supposed to do monthly, as far as making certain that the children are aware of what we do if we have trouble. Where should you go? Making certain that the children stay calm, making certain my teachers understand what's going on. What do you need if we go into a panic? Who should you call? Do you call me? Do you call your assistant principal? Do you call the police? What should you do? So I really spent today brainstorming on how do we make certain that we're securing our building better? How am I taking better care of my children? With also making sure I'm caring for myself as well as my staff.
And when Ann tells me her story and I listen, and I'm gonna listen to what Mo got to say, because as an insider who has police and military training, remember, Buffalo and the school that just had a shooting, they had an armed officer there, and they were armed with handguns, not assault rifles. They were armed with handguns against somebody who was prepared for an assault rifle attack. Principal Ann, do you want a resource officer at your school walking around with an AK, or do you want them walking around with an assault rifle with your kids?
No. For number one, I work at a private academy, very small, very intimate. I have about 137 children. No. Just police presence, period, scares my parents half to death. Their hearts drop. They immediately think that the world has came to an end. What has happened, it could just be merely them doing a safety check of really nothing. But police scare people, even though they are supposed to give you a sense of calming, it doesn't. Because of how crazy the world is, when people see the police, they assume something is deathly wrong. Another reason is if you have an assault rifle, there's no telling who you're going to hit. You could hit one of my babies. How much good are you doing if you don't hit the perpetrator and you hit my babies?
And so there is the dilemma. For me to volunteer my services at Ann's school to keep the kids safe, because we see what's out there. Ann gotta let go of something. Ann has to tell them. Ann has to tell parents. She gotta tell Mo. She gotta tell everybody else. Hey, this is what we gotta do to keep your kids safe. Nobody wants to hear that because we have a mental block. We have a mental block. And I said this a year ago. It's sad how much protection we will give clubs, liquor stores, whatever. But our most prized possession, we don't offer any protection.
Right.
For 90% of us, kids are our most prized possession. There is no protection that we offer to them. How how crazy is that? We keep hoping and praying for the best. We keep hoping that this is going to be the safest place possible when we know school shootings have been going on since the 1800s. I looked it up. So why is it we insist that we think school's going to always be safe when we see it now and we're desensitized to it? We cry, we're sad, and then next week they're going to be complaining about gas prices again. So, Ann, if I give you a solution and I tell you, hey, I'm gonna need to put 2 guys there, but they're gonna have assault rifles. But I can pretty much guarantee you now that the evil kid, because this ain't about mental illness. I don't care what nobody's saying. I suffer from mental illness.
Right.
This is about evil people. Evil people do not like to confront people who have evil people stoppers. It's just a fact of life. But if Ann don't want somebody to come up there and follow, because she had a private school, it's probably a little bit harder to get in there. But if I sit in front of the school and wait for one of those good parents to come in, when they come in, if I stand behind them, they're gonna hold the door for me because they're polite. I guarantee it. It's a way to get in, and once I'm in, what's gonna happen? And they can hit all the panic buttons they want. But before they get any response, here I am armed with an assault rifle with an extended clip. I can get off 75 shots before anybody can do anything.
Right.
So,
and I mean, I'm a strong believer where there's a will, there's a way. So if they haven't determined that that's what they're going to do, they're going to do it.
And the only way, because I've been pondering, and don't be too quiet there. I've been pondering. The only way is for us to do what Biden and Obama asked for a long time ago. We have to limit the ability for them to get these guns. There is no reason for anybody who is not active military or active law enforcement to have an assault rifle, to have extended clips. People who hunt don't use them. So why do we use them why do we need them in urban areas? They serve no purpose other than the destruction of people. That's the only purpose that they serve. Well, the Constitution says we have a right to bear arms. But then, is that the same Constitution that said women could pick whether or not they want to have abortions? I mean, let's play on even standards here. Ann can't choose whether or not she want to get rid of a baby. She got to have this baby. There is no waiting period for me to get a gun. I can go get one and start shooting. Oh, well, you got to get this check. You're right. But they don't have to wait for that. If it comes back that I have a history of mental illness, they got to try to find me, which is stupid. But when are we going to do this? When do our kids become our most prized priority? Not gas prices, not a loaf of bread, none of this other stuff. So the solution is there. 90% of Americans believe in this, in these new handgun restrictions and waiting for it. But who is it that we elect that is going to push for this? Who is it?
Well, it's going to be an uphill battle there. You got to understand, first of all, the parents have to care enough in order to get out and fight the fight. We are glorified paid babysitters. As long as we're present to accept their children, that's all that matters. Nothing else matters, whether they have a book, a pencil, a pen, a lesson, homework, or anything else. So the first part is just getting the parental participation in order for anything to happen.
And the first part is, and even when I come to you, because I like to be thorough. When I come to you and tell you that this is what I think you need, I'm gonna tell you, hey, let's have a PTA meeting so I can tell it to the parents. Because Ann can't explain it, I don't think. Just one. It's better to come from an expert who can answer all the what ifs and what abouts and what about. Because Ann needs to say what the principals needs to do. But if we're trying to prevent this until we pass these laws, there are certain things that, in my mind, have to be done. Because I'm reading, some schools got this lockdown. And, my child went to a school where you got to buzz in and identify yourself and all that. And they got cameras. But again, if it's cold and I got on a jacket, there's nothing for me to put the weapon up under my jacket. There's nothing for me to have this ballistic vest on up under my coat. And I don't believe that they actually going through this and verifying who I am, because they mashed the buzzer too quick. If you look the part, they let you in. Then once you're in, you're in.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, we got metal detectors. Okay, and what's the metal detector gonna do? Once you detect that the person has too much metal on them, who's there to stop them? Who's there to stop them? We don't want schools to look like prisons, so most of them got pretty glass windows at the front. So if I just want to shoot the window out first to get through, then what?
Exactly.
Where's the money gonna come from to make schools safe? You can get the glass that is going to take 6-7 shots. It costs money. We don't want to invest in that. We'll invest in stadiums for a dumbass football team, but we want to invest in all this stuff that's needed for schools. We won't make these athletes who make all this money give back for this. They give to other crazy stuff, whatever. But when it comes to this, again, our most prized possession, most of us are severely lacking when it comes to planning for a true future for them. You know, yes, we want Ann and her staff to educate them, but who's going to protect them? Ann is not there to be a protector. She didn't sign up to be a protector.
And I need to make it home to my own kids. I need to make it back home to my children.
What? Teachers don't sign up to get shot at work. You got to be shitting me.
Exactly.
You shouldn't be a teacher if you're not willing to give your life. Well, you shouldn't be a parent if you're not willing to come your ass and sit in the parking lot with a rifle then. Exactly. This is so insane to me. I have a whole nother show planned. This shit has bothered me so bad. And I was hoping Ann could make it. Because like I said, she's just, I love her honesty and I love her transparency. But how do we fix these? How do we fix these when a solution is there, but we'd rather talk about other little things? Yes, the war in Ukraine sucks. Yes, gas prices sucks. Yes, the shortage of baby food sucks. But for the things that we can control, why aren't we controlling them as opposed to being sidetracked by people who say they're with us, but they don't talk about these little things that are actually easily solvable? It don't take nothing to change the law for buying and selling guns. And until somebody shows me where a kid stole his grandfather's gun and went and shot up the place, all of this comes from buying new guns. Absolutely. It comes from buying new guns legally. And
also, if you have so many guns in your possession that you don't realize that your child has walked off with one, you still have a problem. If your guns are laying around where your child has access to them, I don't care if you say I hid it up in the closet. That's insane. That's not hiding from a child.
It's really not, because we all know that as kids, we look around. We look
Absolutely.
around. That's how some of us found our Christmas present. We know where our parents gonna hide shit.
Absolutely.
They not that creative like we are, but
well, you might come at me, D, but I'm gonna say this. I really want your thoughts on this, but one thing I want to say is that I can't get into my wife's phone to see if she's cheating with nobody because of fingerprint ID. So why can't we apply that to guns? Nobody should be able to fire your gun except the person who has the fingerprint ID, who can unlock the fingerprint ID. In that case, one thing we've done is establish culpability. We haven't prevented the crime yet, but I've been thinking about this and I thought about it deeply, and that was one step towards keeping the culpability where it belongs. That's one step. There's more, but I want to get your thoughts on that.
We have, there is technology, because I actually had one. We have ring guns where people have to have a ring and the ring clicks. They're expensive. What happens if the ring get lost? What's up, Lyle? That can be done. Again, people like ease. They like ease of stuff. They don't want to go through all this stuff. People, I don't want a safety on my gun. And yeah, whatever. If you practice a safety doesn't mean much if you practice, because you when you unhost it, you click it. But we can't get, what I don't want us to deviate from, and I'll tell you how to get your wife's fingerprint thing, but what we don't want to deviate from is, when do we protect our most prized investment? And that's my whole thing. Like I say, if you go to a liquor store, chances are you see security in there. It's just liquor. When you go to the jewelry store, you see it. You see it at the mall. You see it everywhere, but where kids are. And we can't be that oblivious and blind that we think nothing's going to happen to them. It's consistent now. It's not like, the thing said the last shooting that the UK had was in 2015 or something like that. Before that, they had one in 2010 where one person got killed. Because they don't allow guns like we do. Oh, Second Amendment, I got a right to bear arms. The governor here is making it legal for you to carry concealed weapons. How does that work? How does that work? I mean, I'm sure at the end of the day, Ann don't want nobody to have a gun. I'm sure. But how is she going to prevent them from having a gun? She's got the metal detector, but who's going to sit there and man it for PTA? Because if I got my briefcase, in my case, I got a knee brace in here, I got all these things that are going to set up. Who's going to set all these things up and keep watching all these people? And again, if I mean harm when I come through, whoever's there to ask me questions, once I shoot them, then what? and don't have time to worry about that. And I'm gonna speak for her again. Subliminally, Ann probably does want somebody like me there with a gun just in case something happens. So where's the counterbalance? You know, it's like having air marshals. You're not supposed to know who they are, but they make the people on the planes feel safe. And when was the last time a plane got hijacked?
Let me say this, Darren. First of all, we are unprotected from the beginning. Let's not even go to the scope of shooting. I can't halfway say anything to a child without the whole world wanting to come down on my head. I can't discipline a child, suspend them without the whole world wanting to have my head, and a whole meeting needs to be held when the child is obviously wrong. So expecting them to defend us, so to speak, on this big scale, it's a long time coming because we're not protected at all. We're scrutinized about absolutely everything, but not protected from anything. A parent can come in here and walk in my face and do whatever she want to do. Hoopla. I literally just had this. I was telling you about the graduation. They did fight at the graduation. By the time the police got there, they were gone. Oh, well, there's nothing I can do now that they're gone. I mean, you can write a statement, but I mean, we're unprotected, period. We're completely unprotected. So I feel like this is going to be a super long time coming when we don't even have the bare minimum protection right now.
And just using that base scenario, why would you need security at a graduation?
Exactly.
But what I tell you last week, Mo, we needed 5 police officers at a funeral because of
funeral, yeah.
Because, so at what point, and this wasn't even going, it's just dragging a woman out. But in this specific case, when we're talking about kids, I see my other teacher, TR, is here. I think she can't show her face because of where she is, but TR, just throw your hand up right quick so we can still know you're here. You can just jump in whenever you feel like it.
I'm here.
How does Ann, how does T, how do they feel safe at work when they got to do more than their job? They got to do more than what they signed up for while they're getting like next to zero help from parents. Because if we're being honest, the agenda right now can't be education first. It's got to be safety first. We've known this and we keep hoping, praying, kumbaya and rain dancing. The shit ain't went away. It ain't went away. And guess what? It ain't gonna go away. Because what do we know about crime? When somebody sees something, copycats, they come in like crabs. It's gonna happen again and again and again. And then here we go. We got politicians like the Taylor Greene woman who's saying, oh, Sandy Hook was a fake. So you got a whole bunch of people who want to buy into that. And here we go. Our most prized possession. That's what I can't get around. Now I seen all these posts today about all these people who want to homeschool now. Because they're not able, they're not capable, but it's safer than sending their child to school and worrying. This last school
Darren,
had
I gotta stop you. You keep
ahead.
saying that the children are 90% of our prized possessions. If you've worked into a school, you know that's untrue. The majority of the parents could care less. And I don't say that to be negative.
Word, Ann.
They don't care. They could care less what goes on. As long as I am present and I can take their child off their hands, that's all they care about at all. They don't care if I'm sick. They don't care if my children are sick. They don't care about anything but me taking their child off their hands.
Yep.
So that 90%, I want to bring it on down to about 35%.
They're more
even at a private school level.
They're more concerned with the milestones. Like we did our milestones last week and the week before last. I know it's late, but that's when we did them. And so it was come in the building, drop your phones off. Nobody can have their phones. Nobody can have their watches. Nobody don't have the iPads, take everything off the walls. Nothing can be on the floors. We got to check the desk. Like a whole hour and a half before testing even started to secure the area for milestones. But you can walk up to our door because we have 2 doors that you have to buzz through before you can even get in our building. But it's as simple as ring the doorbell. Hey, I'm here to check my child out. Okay, come through.
That's it.
But you spend an hour and a half securing the area for a milestones. So it's about what your priorities are. You want to make sure that you score well so that you don't, miss out on any funds, the Title I money, all of this.
Yep.
But when you have people coming in, if you have shooters coming in and they are shooting our children, you're not worried about that. You're not worried about people coming in we had field day last week. Meet us on the field is what we were instructed to tell our parents. Don't check in and come through the school. Just meet us on the field. So where is the schools, the parents don't care, but the schools they don't care either.
They do not. They do not, because it doesn't directly affect them.
Nope.
It doesn't. As long as their monies are coming in, they're fine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And also, it's not even so much as worrying about their scores. In my opinion, they want to make certain that nobody thinks that they're cheating, so that way they're not put up under some cheating scandal. You could care less. Like, yeah, you want your Title I money, but in reality, you're just still trying to save your own butt.
Oh yeah, because they told us at the training meeting, we have to go through all of this. Like our paras were there, our janitors, everybody. If you were in the building, you were in the building, and it literally was, we're just trying to make sure nobody goes to jail.
That's it.
And we were like, what? And I'm a first year teacher, so I'm new coming in, and I've always been on the opposite side. I've been on the parent side, but I was always the involved parent. I was the classroom mom. I was if mine get out of line, please call me. I'll come to the school and tighten that ass up. That was me. So now I'm on the opposite side, and I'm looking and I see the teachers that are frustrated because you want us to do everything. Keep your kids safe and feed them and be their counselor and teach them. And we can't do everything. I was talking to some friends earlier today because my phone went off nonstop until I walked back through my door today. Our classroom is on the outside of our building. So we have an interior door and we have an outside door. The exterior door faces the street. So if somebody was so inclined and felt like today was their day, there's nothing to stop them from shooting through the glass door. They don't have to step foot in the school. They don't have to come in the school, and they can shoot through every classroom at our school because every room has an outside door that leads to something. The playground, the gym, the cafeteria, ours faces the street, every classroom. So it's not even so much, how do they get in the school? Because they don't have to get in the school.
And the reality is 90% of the time, us administrators are not in the school. If at a work week, I'm probably actually in the school, maybe 10 hours. Everywhere else, you got me running to meetings and trainings and this and that. I'm not in the school. So once again, it doesn't affect me directly because I'm not in the school.
See, and y'all are killing me. Y'all just, oh, damn.
It's so much bigger than what people think. Here's the thing. We are so underrated. Like, nobody knows what we go through. Nobody knows what we endure. Nobody understands it. They look at it like, oh, well, you didn't help my child be great. Guess what? I didn't help your child possibly get an 8 average, but I'm the reason that your child has a whole lot of self-confidence, something that they didn't walk in my door with. We are so underrated.
Right. I'm the reason that your child has any social skills because they came in, I teach first grade. So last year for my kids was virtual. They weren't doing virtual this year. At the beginning of the year, when we came back from break, the kids were on virtual for 2 weeks. They weren't doing the virtual for 2 weeks. I know they weren't doing it last year. So I'm in a classroom with kids who can't read, who can't count, who don't know how to spell their name, who can't point a letter out, who can't tell you the sound of an A. When we started, now at least they can point it out. So you're looking at, how do I reach the goals that I'm supposed to reach academically? Try to mold your kid into some semblance of a decent child, keep them safe, because like I said, I teach first grade and my kids flat out this morning were like, we don't want to be here. They are scared. How do you get a child to work when they are scared? I'm grown, I'm over 40. And when I'm scared, guess who's shutting it down? Me.
Period.
I'm not here to participate. If I'm scared, then that's what we're on. So now it's, it's the end of the year. It will go through the summer because we're done on Friday. So that's it. But that's not something that you quickly forget. Absolutely. It's different when you hear about it and you hear, Columbine, they shot up a high school. But to hear this dude went to an elementary school, shot up an elementary school, and not just 1 or 2 people. These babies died, and they're 3rd graders, 4th graders. Like my fourth graders and my fifth graders are walking around. They do not want to be at the school. So whether you want them home or you want them in the building, active participation is not getting ready to happen in the school because kids are scared and teachers are scared. I want to go home every day. I have a daughter. I have 2 grandkids. I want to be home every day. I don't want to have to worry about how am I going to get your kids out? How am I going to get me out? And that's what's at the forefront right now. I don't give a damn about your standardized test. I truthfully don't care if they can read, because if we die at the school, how is that relevant?
T, how would you feel if they asked you to carry a gun?
Who you talking to?
T.
I would go right into my closet and be perfectly fine.
And this is the crazy part. Let me do a quick introduction so everybody know who it. Mo is here. Mo doesn't have any kids, but he keeps me on point, and he keeps me when I go off straight and I get too emotional. And is a principal. And what school? What grades are you the principal in?
K through 6th grade.
Okay, T is on an elementary school. I got Dr. Deb here. She's a child counselor, and I wanted her here especially because now that school is ending, these kids are going to take this to the summer, and there's a great chance that none of them won't get the therapy they need because they can't go to TNN and get help from a counselor to get to Dr. Deb, because now they're going to be gone for 60 days, and this PTSD or whatever, I'm gonna let Dr. Dale tell you whatever it's called, it's gonna get a chance to set in and foster, because we know what happens in the summer. The parents are even more absent because most of them can't afford to miss work. Right. So, and for that group that strains, they're not gonna get the free meals that they were getting at school. They're gonna miss out on a lot of free benefits that they got from full-time schooling. Go ahead, Ann. I see you had your hand up.
Because listen, you know what? That whole parents have to work. Yes, they do. But that's not why they don't take their kids to what they need to. They don't take them because it interferes with their hair appointment and their nail appointment. They don't do it because it makes them have to pick them up early. And then what do I do with them through the hours that they should have been at school? It has absolutely nothing to do with them being at work, because they take off for what they want to take off for. They take off and go with their girlfriends. They take off and go do trips. They take off and lay up. Mm-hmm. They take off and do everything but support their children. So I'm sorry, I got to sweep that one off from under your feet as well. It's not what you remember in the school system. They don't care. I probably have, out of my whole 137 children, I probably have maybe 30 parents that genuinely care, that is going to call my phone and say, how's my child doing academically? How's my child doing socially? I get calls 2 days before the last day of school to say, why y'all failing my son? The same reason that we've been failing your son all year long that you haven't cared about. But now that you see retained, now you want to blow my phone up. No, baby. We're going to keep the same energy we had all year long.
Man, she is correct. She is correct. We sent out at-risk letters. They won't even read the at-risk letters. It's in the portal. Some of y'all walk around with your hands on your phone all day every day. And the at-risk letters we send to the portal, because what we know is, from when I was a kid, the piss poor progress report didn't always find its way home. Yep. So it goes to the portal. I'm talking about parents not only have not signed, you haven't even looked at the damn letter. So now we're at the end, and our last day is Friday. Our kids get out at 11:30. Do you know I had a parent call me this morning wanting to have a meeting Friday morning about why their child is being placed and not promoted? I said, I sent you an at-risk letter starting in January. I sent not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 at-risk letters. I've emailed you. I've sent remind messages. No, we cannot have a meeting on Friday.
You know why? Because I'm gonna be out having mimosas, the same thing you've been doing all year long. No, I'm not.
Baby, I'm gonna be at the Mexican. Ain't no need to worry about where I'm gonna be.
No.
And it's sad, because I was gonna bring that factor in, because I actually know of 3 cases where a teacher was attacked by a parent at the end of the year who was upset about the grades, which is a whole nother defense mechanism, because I'm just not a fan of that whole process either. So it's like, there is really, how do we go about making it safe? Why, like I said, school shooting been going on since 1800, but I'm 50 something. I don't ever recall one, and I know it's because of my ignorance, is because there was no social media. I don't recall school shootings happening when, okay, I lied. I do remember one, but I don't recall there being a phenomenon where my mom ever worried, where we were ever worried about what was going on. Even being here from Atlanta with Dwayne Williams shit going on, we were never afraid at school. It was after school we had to start sticking together. This whole phenomenon and the people who are looking for a solution, clearly I'm out of the loop. And I'm looking at shit. Like I say, I asked Dr. Dale to be here because she helped me with a couple of personal things when I needed somebody to help me with a kid who was at risk. I know this is what she does. I can reach out and call her. But damn, when I'm starting looking at safety, you know, when my daughter who's in the Army now, her last few years of high school, you know, yeah, I'm a little paranoid every day. And my 8-year-old, she's homeschooled. But as I'm looking at social media and I'm seeing all the people who homeschooling now, who are gonna start homeschooling because they're truly afraid. And I'm looking at some of them because I'm looking at your posts and I know you can't read and write. I seen your shitty math. You gonna traumatize your kids more. And when I reached out to Dr. Deb, it's because I knew they're gonna take this trauma into the summer with somebody who's not equipped to deal with it. So for the ones that have to come back, because as the principal so eloquently put me back on focus, they don't have time for the kids to be at home because they're interrupting things.
And that's why they're not going to be homeschooled but a semester. And then you're going to throw them back to me and expect me to pick up all the slack that you done did for these last 4 weeks or 9 weeks or however long you keep them at home. Now, guess what? In the next 4 weeks, I better get them back together. You're going to have the highest expectations for me because I'm a teacher and you're supposed to be able to do it. Do it.
And with the lowest amount of participation.
Absolutely.
But
I don't have no books.
They don't want to do anything.
Uniform, figure it out.
But
yeah, no, they don't want to do anything.
You got to do all that, and now they want to throw guns at you. Oh, we're gonna teach teachers. Why are you teaching
here's
teachers?
The thing as far as the gun, I hear you keep saying that, and I need to just go on and slide this in. You know, I'm a very honest individual.
Do I need to cut my mic off?
I most definitely carry my weapon everywhere. I work at a private academy, so I'm not under the same scrutiny as somebody who would be in a public school. I don't carry my weapon because I think I'm going to need it at the school. I carry my weapon because it makes me feel better. Do I ever choose to do I want to use my weapon? Absolutely not. But I would much rather have it than to not have it. Where my school is, we're off all by ourselves. At the earliest, it's going to take a cop 10 minutes to get to me. I don't have that kind of time on my hands because even though these are somebody's children, when they drop them off to me, they are mine. This staff, the staff are my children as well. I feel as though I'm supposed to protect every single person in that building. Mm-hmm. The cops do not care. When they pull up, all they want to know is, where's the action? If there's no action, there's no nothing. So yes, I do tote my weapon, not because I'm some badass, just because I don't have time for it. And it's not even so much as for shootings. Hell, it's for the stupid parents, if nothing else.
That too, yeah. You want to be able to get everybody home to whoever they need to go home to at the end of the day.
And when we go in there, it's every man for themselves. Like it's literally every man for themselves. You can't go in a public school. You can't go to your principal and voice your concerns without them feeling like you're stepping on their toes, without them feeling like you think you know more than them. It's not that I don't know more, that I know more than you. It's just I'm in a position that you're not in. Once people kind of step outside of a teaching position, they forget what it's like to be a teacher because now you're an administrator. You forget what the hustle and bustle is all about once you're actually inside a classroom, dealing with ignorant parents, dealing with children that have absolutely no home training.
Roy, did you have your hand up, sir? I need 2 drinks.
I did. So the action plan that we have in place, that we're still working a couple of things to try to get moving in. One of the aspects of that is a way that we can actually help our schools and get it in. And with all the stuff that's going on, man, I mean, it's something that we probably want to look at, even trying to implement. We actually worked on it in Orlando for a minute. We were trying to get it implemented in some of the schools down there, but it's actually utilizing the folks who are in the Greek letter organizations and getting them in there. Because see, one of the things, and this as a police officer or as a former police officer, man, people, they're always going to take the path of least resistance when they're looking for places to do things like that at. They're not going to go somewhere where they know that they're 15 I mean, not even 15. Hell, when they know it's 5 or 6 random dudes, and when I say dudes, let me change that. Random men walking the halls who are at these schools during the day with these kids. They're not going to go there when they know that there are people who have access to do things like the principal saying, like she carried her weapon with her. You know, they're gonna do everything they can to find the path of least resistance. And so, you know, one of the things that we've pushed is trying to find a way to get the Greek letter organizations to come out and have people where they're able to literally come out and volunteer every day of the week, you know. And we're talking about getting each organization to send 3 people. It's not, you know, the plan isn't a major plan. It's not anything that's going to take it. It's not anything that's going to take it where it's burdened by one group of individuals where you see the same people every day who are doing it, but getting every organization that they can pull, you know, members of their organization out of their day to do stuff. And the key though is that we've got to get companies and businesses engaged in this also, so that they can give these guys time off to do these things and give people and make it, you know, we've got a full plan that works the whole thing where they can get additional tax breaks, you know, things that can be tied in, all kind of stuff. But, you know, being, you know, Principal Ann talked about it. Miss T talked about being that parent. Anybody who knows me and knows I was in Orlando with my 3 kids, I was PTA president probably a total of 12 years between my kids. Everybody knew Mr. Roy, Coach Roy, whatever you wanted to call me on campus, because I was up there all the time. You know, it wasn't a question about whether or not we were going to be involved. It was how much you was going to get in trouble when I found out what you was actually doing if you wasn't doing what you was supposed to be. Now, that was my oldest child. The other 2 was straight because they knew what was coming. But, you know, we have to get to that point where we have to take the onus is on our communities. You know, the onus is on the parents, and it's a situation where it has to stop being what Ann was talking about in a glorified babysitting system. You know, because
how do we get to that point if nobody's safe?
Dude, here's the thing. I think this is where we're missing that. Yeah, it's you have to get that before you can get the safe, because I think if you had, again, you can't tell me if you got at least 3 to 4 and let's talk about elementary school. Principal Ann, if you had 3 to 4 guys, parents, fathers, or, you know, just dads, walking around your campus every day, bouncing from class to class, do you think y'all would feel a whole lot more safe knowing that those men are there?
Absolutely.
You know, and that's what I'm saying. Again, D, and if you as a shooter know that these 3 or 4 guys are actually walking around campus doing stuff, I mean, unless you just set in your way and you're going to do your thing to try to stop them first, but are you going to want to plan that, or are you going to go over to the school that they got nobody there?
They don't have anybody.
Yep. You know, that you know that there's no resistance whatsoever.
But again, Roy, listen, you have to know, like everybody else, these people doing their little research. The Buffalo guy, he knew what he was going to confront. That's why he was dressed like he was dressed. So I hear what you're saying, but why would I care about 4 parents walking around the classroom? They are not at the door. When I start shooting, guess what they're going to do? See, when I was with Ann on another show and the guy was talking about, oh, if we would have had our guns, we would have did this. You could have did whatever you wanted to with your handgun. When you meet a rifle that can shoot 4 times farther, you are not going to stand out there like you don't know damn Law and Order talking about put the rifle down. Don't shoot this way. It is not going to happen. So yeah, you can feel safer, but hell, most of them feel safer with the resource officer because they didn't have resource officers before. But the person who doesn't care, if you ain't meeting them with the level of resistance that they bring in, who cares? Oh, you just another pretty face for me to shoot because you can't stop this. So I hear the dads coming out there and being more active. I hear that, but I'm sure at this graduation that Ann had where the fight started, there were men. What did they do? Hell, we've learned that men won't protect women. They damn sure ain't gonna protect kids.
Part of the problem is the punishment that comes with. Part of it is the punishment that comes with that type of activity on a school, at a school function, school event, bus stop, on the bus, at the school, right? So part of the problem that we have heard just, you know, in conversations and, you know, being a parent, if there's a situation at the school, right, that I can assist with, right? I'm not a badass, but if I aim, I shoot, and I don't typically miss, right? If I can end a situation with a shot, right? The situation is ended. Now I have to then turn around and deal with the ramifications of, I had a gun on school property. I used the gun on school property. I used the gun in front of children at school on school property, right? So then here's the conversation. I'm a mother as well. And if it come down to the come down, shoot them. I'll stand in the court and tell the judge, absolutely, and leave them alone. Because do you want your kids to come home, or do you want to have a conversation about the fact that I have my gun locked up in a closet, and when if it was needed, I was able to use it?
I don't know. According to you and Ann, they don't want these kids to come home. They want them to stay at school overnight.
Here's the thing, they go, no. But guess what? These same parents that we're talking about gonna cuss you out to filth about that child that they don't even care about.
Yep.
It's about confrontation. It's about being the boss. It's about bossing me around, because as the parent, you think you're my boss. You think you get to tell me what to do. So
you can't even tell your child what to do, man.
If I say anything, what you deem is out of the way to your child, oh, now you want to go toe to toe with me, but I can't get you to step foot in here to participate in absolutely anything else. But you'll meet me at the door with the drama.
And
very much so.
That's why we got so many issues that we can't even. This is why safety keeps falling back, because true, a lot of parents have a whole separate agenda. The teachers have an agenda. The teacher's agenda is not safety. I mean, hell, doing that little fire drill, that takes 10, 15 minutes. They trying to teach your kids who are behind up the stuff. Now they got to teach them a shooting drill. Now they got to do the fire drill, the hurricane drill, the what if the bathroom flood drill. I mean, it's like, hell, you're going to spend 2 days a week doing drills for things that you don't want to think about. Parents don't want to hear about or address it. Clearly, there ain't enough money. There ain't enough retired cops. And as I said earlier, Ann don't want to, and teachers, she don't want to see a man in uniform looking like a soldier walking around with an assault rifle who's there to respond to the threat that we're getting. Because
mind you, I don't mind it, but it's not going to be appeasing to parents.
And
right, I definitely it doesn't bother me. And one of the parents that come to help at the end of the day said something that I thought, you know, I thought it made sense, but there's so many in my community where I live and where I work. There's so many veterans, right, who aren't active anymore.
Right.
But would love nothing more than to come to the school and help make the kids feel safe. You can't do that. You got to make them jump through all kind of hoops.
Absolutely.
But a mom can come in for a birthday party with no problems, no issues. Yep. We can have a parent in the building every day for, you know, whatever foolish, just ridiculous shit. You know, like you didn't make it to open house, but it's birthday party time. So please let's show up for the birthday party. So you pick and choose who can be present and who can be in the room and who can be in the building and who, like all of this stuff.
Because they don't want no problems. Administrators don't want no problems. Don't let them go to the superintendent. Don't let them go out our head. Just give them what they want. It's so many times that you can send a child down to the office and in 3 minutes you're looking back in their face. Why? Because you don't want to deal with their mama. You don't want to deal with whatever their mama is going to do as a result of you sending their disobedient child to the office.
Yeah, so, it's definitely just, you know, whatever's just going to keep them quiet. And even on the administrator side, you know, we sit in those parent meetings, you know, they want to come in and scream and holler and cuss. And, you know, the principals and the vice principals and the counselors are like, you know, well, you know, what will make you more comfortable? What the hell do you mean? What's going to make you more comfortable?
See, that's exactly why I'm in a private school, because I can't take that. So when parents decide they're going to come in my school and they're going to act ignorant, get out. Now, get out. I'll have your withdrawal papers in your email before you get in your car. Get out. I'm not tolerating any of it at all. I come at all of my parents with 100% respect, and I'm not taking anything less than 100%. So when you decide you want to get loud, you want to get ignorant, you want to show me you the boss, I can show you better than I can tell you.
I can definitely, let me get your things together. Yeah. I'm very, day one, we set the expectation. I speak to everybody with respect. My child is 22 and she's at the house. My mother is 60 plus and she's at her house, which means you won't talk to me crazy and I will extend the same courtesies to you. But whatever, what? Okay, it's raining. Whatever, whatever it is, I'm prepared to do whatever it is that you want to do. We can take it wherever you want to take it.
And Dan, I know it may seem like we are being Debbie Downers, but this is just the reality. Being honest. Like, this is just the reality of what we're faced with. Nobody understands on a real level what teachers are faced with every single day. Like, it is crazy. By the grace of God, I don't dread my job. I don't hate my job. I still get up every single day with the same level of happiness inside of me. But that's only because I've wrapped my mind around every man is for themselves. I'm gonna have to create what I want because nobody's gonna create it for me. Nobody's gonna stand behind me and bag what I'm telling them is best for the children.
Well, let me ask both of y'all a question, and this is for you too, Dale. When these incidents happen, because I see it happen subliminally, where people either don't want to become teachers now or they just quit the field entirely. So again, this impacts you at a greater level because you're a principal. But T, do you think about, when you see it, do you think about, damn, maybe this teaching in school ain't what I want to do? Because I keep seeing these school shootings. Hell, it's got to be safer now to work at the 7-Eleven. They just get robbed. They ain't shooting.
It's not even necessarily that. I mean, it's so many other things that really make you just sit down at the end of the day and be like, damn, are you sure? It's really what you want to do? You sure? Like, are you sure? Then when you add this part on, it's like, no, I can go back to State Farm.
Because you want to go home.
Working at a school makes you not want to be bothered with anything. I've always said, my next job, I'm going to be to myself. I don't want to have nobody around me. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to answer to anybody. Put me somewhere where I can do a job by myself. I don't want to do it.
I'm gonna be somewhere planning trips or something. I'm all set because it's too much. It's too much, and then it's
the accountability level is this high,
right?
But I have zero resources to meet what you're saying. But you can care less about that,
right? And that's the reality of it. It's just it's stressful, and it's not just the safety part. It's the parents. It's the lack of support. It's the lack of resources. It's the
disrespect.
Heavy on the disrespect. It's the the pressure. We have to pass these tests. We have to pass these tests. We have to pass these tests. But you're not giving me anything to help me support these kids. It's a lot. The parents want them to know everything, but don't want to tell families. Right.
Like, I have my own family that I have to save a little piece of me for every single day. I cannot give that school everything I got because my children deserve to have a present mom. They deserve for me not to be irritated with them. I found myself having to just draw back because I will be home and I don't want my kids to say nothing to me. Don't talk to me. And I had to say, that's not fair to them. They've been missing you all day long. All they want to do is sit up under mommy. You got to get yourself in control where that job is not aggravating you so much that you're shutting down when you get home. Like, that's where I was. I was so frustrated by the time I got to my driveway. I don't even want to get out of my car. Y'all go in the house. I'll be in a minute.
Yep.
How fair is that to my kids? I don't want to cook dinner. I don't want to do anything. But how fair is it that I went to this school and gave those kids 110% and don't even have 1% for my own children?
You're right. I would sit at the school until 5:30, 6 o'clock, trying to get everything done because I knew when I got home, number one, I wasn't gonna want to do it. And my grandkids are less than interested in Mimi's I got a grade. I got to put,
exactly.
This dude don't want me on the phone now. He is literally, this dude is sitting in the window. He does not care at all. He could give a shit less. So when I get home, he's like, okay, well, you've been with them kids all day. Now you hear what
it's all me now. It's all me.
And they don't care. And when I get home, it's literally like, okay, let me lock myself in the bathroom for 20 minutes just so I can decompress, get myself together. Yes. And then, give them a couple hours, go to sleep, get up, do it all over again.
Absolutely.
So I got a question.
Hold on, the side effect to that whole thing is for me is no different than being a cop. Every time something happens with kids, I come home, I want to hug my kids, but I also realize I'm being a little bit stricter on them. I don't want them to go outside now. I don't want them to do this now. Now I need to interview all their friends. Everybody you talk to, I need a fingerprint, I need an ID card, I need 2 relatives to, and so you lock down on them and you don't mean to, but you become so restrictive because you're afraid now, because you just got hit in what you thought was a safe zone, and then you got that whole thing that you're unrecognized PTSD, because now you're paranoid about everything. So the house creaks. That sounds like somebody walking up the steps. It sounds like they had a gun, and you got that whole thing to deal with. Go ahead, Mo.
I'm just gonna say this. I've been in the engineering field, and one of the things that you have to consider for a new design is the safety features. So I'm looking at this from the educational perspective and saying, where's the OSHA for schools? Is there OSHA equivalent for schools? Because if you're sending people to an environment, you have an obligation to make sure that they're safe. So if we don't have one, we need to establish one, because this, they should be tracking, the people getting hurt in the school environment, and so they can have a profile on safety relative to schools.
If there is, I've never heard of it.
But under whose agenda? Because like I say, one, we got the whole curriculum that we can't agree on. Now we got safety issues that we want to ignore. And I mean, T said, Ann said, one of them said, if they take a gun to school and something happens to use the gun, even if they save a life, now they got the whole backlash to deal with. One, you got a gun on school property. Two, you did this in front of kids. Three, you did that. There's a whole backlash, and because it doesn't have a just in case clause, because they don't want you to have a gun just in case. I mean, it's like if I'm in my uniform, they'll let me walk through with my gun on. Nobody cares. If I ain't in a uniform, you can't see it no way, so nobody cares. But again, if I'm at the school at the PTA meeting and somebody comes in and I do address them with that gun, the police are going to pat me on the back, but somebody's going to come touch me on my shoulder and say I got to go downtown.
Yep, somebody's mom or dad or something gonna have something to say.
And I got to post this $5,000. I got to post this $5,000 bond, because that's just what the system says. Because there is nothing other than hope and prayer to protect these kids in these glass windows, cheap glass that you can break with a chair, and hopefully all the adults will go stand in front of bullets, and hopefully he's only got enough bullets to kill the students and to kill the teachers, and he'll run out before he gets to the students. Which
Dr. Deb had her hand up, D.
Go ahead, Deb.
When after Columbine, as a resource officer in Fulton County schools, they installed the camera, and you could just not walk up in the school. You had to be buzzed into the school. And so what I began to realize was that the person that was operating, the secretary at the front desk that was operating the buzzer, was not looking at the camera. She was answering it and not saying, "Hi, can I help you? What do you need?" She was just buzzing people in. Okay. Yep. Major problem. Because you don't know who you're letting in. Okay.
No ID required.
So I went to her and I said to her, as part of this process, in order to keep everybody safe, you need to ask them, may I help you? Draw some identifying information from them before you just let them in the building. I've seen where kids from other high schools have been let in the building because the person just buzzed them into the building. So that's problem number one. I don't know about any of the other schools. At the schools where I am now, you have to be buzzed in. Fortunately, at both of them, the way the front office sits, you can see the individual. You can actually see the individual before you buzz them in. Now, what happens after you buzz them in? And in one of my schools, I never see the resource officer. Well, let me back up. I don't see the resource officers on a regular basis. Maybe that's a principal thing. Maybe the principal says we don't want the police to be seen through the building. When I was the resource officer, I walked every floor. I walked every hallway. Whether it was transition or not, I made sure that I was visible. So that if an individual decided they wanted to do something, I was somewhere nearby. Was I going to be the greatest American hero? No, I wasn't, but I was going to keep shooting till the threat was eliminated, okay? You all, Miss T and Miss Ann, you all are so on point, because I saw that in the school system as the resource officer, where you're required to do more. I saw that as a PTSA president when my son was in school, where we have our parents who say, this, we're not doing enough. But when you go to PTA meeting, you have 1,500 kids in the school and you only have 10 people show up for PTA meeting. What are you doing? What message are you sending? But you want to raise sand because on the north side, they're getting this. And so my comeback to them when they would come with what's happening on the north side, I would tell them, before you tell me anything about what's going on the north side, tell me what you're doing on the south side, because that's where we are, south side. Are you showing up for PTSA meeting? Are you there? Are you showing up and volunteering in the school? I had a parent when I was a resource officer that came to me, was all bent out of shape because his son's phone was stolen, a cell phone. I could give a flying flip about the cell phone. He was ready to tear the school apart. So let me get your kid. I got his kid. I said, son, where was your cell phone? He had taken his cell phone and laid it down on the table in the cafeteria. I said, well, you gave your cell phone away. So exactly. I invited this parent, and I invited every parent who had a problem with the way the school was operating. I said, I will buy you lunch. All I need for you to do is come up in here during lunch period, walk the halls so you can see what goes on in this building on a regular basis. This parent came up, he stayed through every lunch period. And when it was over, I said, okay, how much money am I spending to buy you lunch for showing up? He said, you keep your money. I don't see how you all do this. But they want to give it to the teachers to do, but not take ownership for what their children are doing. I work at an alternative school right now. That's one of my schools. And I have about 8 kids on my caseload. I cannot, and I keep telling the parents, ma'am, sir, your child is not in the alternative school because they sang too loud at school. They have an issue. They have a mental health issue. They have a behavioral issue that's not being mediated. I can't even get the parents to come. I can't get the parents to engage with me. I had one parent to tell me last week, he told you he didn't want therapy, so he doesn't need therapy. He needs therapy more than anybody else. Okay. And so these are the kind of things I hit Darren up earlier when he texted me. I said, we need to do how do we break generational curses? Because what I'm seeing in the school system, what Miss T and Miss Ann, it is so, it's crazy. It's just, we have control of this, but we abdicate this control and we don't want to get involved until it's at the end of the year. That's so true. When the kid is failing, where were you on the first day of school or midterm to say, my child needs help? As far as mental health is concerned, parents, you know your child is having issues. You know your child is having concerns. Your child has not been to therapy. Your child has been to therapy, has medication, has not been on medication. Well, ma'am, how long has it been since they've been on? Oh, they haven't been on medication in a year. Now you want me to take this magic wand and you want me to touch them on the shoulder and say, poof, they're better now, And so it's not realistic. When we talk about kids walking up into the school with weapons, when we talk about parents paying attention to what their children are doing, if your children begin to do something totally opposite of what they normally do, when they start operating in a different way, when you are not seeing the normal child that you know, something is going on, no matter what it is. You need to ask questions. I had a kid about a month ago. When we're in session, he walks the whole session. So I'm sitting there, so I have to follow him in his conversation. And so he slipped up and said he had found a weapon. And it was in his bedroom, and he had it hidden. And he doesn't let anybody in his bedroom. And so I had a conversation with the mom prior to this, and she says, yes, he stays in his bedroom a lot. So when he shared this with me, I said, well, what did you do with it? He said, it's in my bedroom. I don't let anybody in my bedroom. I keep my bedroom door locked. And the kids, he has 3 younger siblings. The kids are always knocking on my door. Okay. I called the mom and I said, Mom, I need you to search his room. I need you to search his room because this kid has no empathy. He doesn't like people. He says he's angry every day. What would that look like if he had a gun, okay, and decided that he was going to use that gun in some shape or fashion? So when I called him, Mom, I said, Mom, I need you to go search his room from top to bottom, everything. I said, and I need you to call me back and let me know what you found, okay? When I say this, I felt like she was being nonchalant. I really, that was my impression. She was just being nonchalant. And when she called me back, well, she didn't call me back. I ended up having to call her back. And I said, Mom, you know, I didn't find anything. He'd be lying a whole lot of times. And I'm thinking to myself, I just don't feel like that day was a lie. I feel like he was telling the truth, you know. Mm-hmm. And so when we talk about kids walking around with guns, had a kid that was at the alternative school. I don't know if you all saw this on the news. The one that pulled the gun on the person in on the what do we call it? Where they walk a lot.
Resource officer?
No, on the belt line couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Couple of weeks ago. You see how big he was? Ask me how old he is.
14.
Yep, he's in middle school. He's in middle school. And the other one that was with him is in middle school. The one that pulled the weapon is no longer there because of some behavior issues. So if you get thrown out of the alternative school, you have no alternative, okay? And so where are they getting guns from? Wherever they can, in their mama's closet, in their daddy's closet, in their grandmama's closet. Somebody's letting them, let me hold one. Somebody's giving it to them. So they're getting guns from a lot of different places. How many people have guns in their house and cannot tell you? They know exactly where their weapon is. Okay, you know, you ask them and say, well, yeah, it's in there in the drawer. Go check. All right. And so we have a lot of that going on too, you know. So it's we're living in different times. We're living in some strange times. You know, how do we talk to our children? We talk to them honestly about it. You're right. During the summertime, I always ask my clients, what's your plan for the summertime? What are you gonna do this summer? And that's another thing. I'm from the old school, so idle time is a devil's workshop, that kind of thing. What are you doing? I'm not doing anything. You're not doing anything, nothing. You don't have to go to summer school, but are you participating in any kind of activity during the summertime? And these kids are not. So they have too much opportunity, too much time on their hands. You know, social media is, when I say our kids are addicted to social media, they are addicted to social. It is an addiction. And pretty soon they're gonna have to put it in the DSM-5 as an addiction because they are addicted to social media. And you cannot tell them that what's going on social media is not the gospel, okay? You cannot tell them that because they actually believe that. I have a couple of clients now who are in relationships with individuals that they call them their girlfriend and boyfriend on somebody they have never laid eyes on personally, okay? They have never been in the room with, okay? They have never held their hand, touched them, but they're in a full-blown relationship with them. And so for them, they are addicted to social media. When we talk about the relationships, like Miss Ann said, Miss Ann, I got you. A lot of my kids say, I do not like people. Personally, Miss Ann, I don't like adults, okay? But I know I have to deal with them, you know, because I say messed up children make messed up adults. And we don't see how that pattern keeps going and keeps multiplying when we do that, you know. So I got it, but we need a plan. We have to have a plan.
Let me interrupt you. I just got an article. Roy, can you put the article up for me? And this is one of my biggest issues with social media, because Trina just said a lot of adults are addicted to social media. This just came out. The Uvalde gunman reportedly posted 3 times on Facebook before shooting his grandmother in the face and then killing 19 students and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said at a press conference not too long ago. Abbott said the posts were, at this time, the only information was known in advance about the shooting. Approximately 30 minutes before Salvador Ramos, that's the shooter, reached Robb Elementary, according to Abbott, he shared a post that effectively read, "I'm going to shoot my grandmother." The second post stated, "I shot my grandmother." The third post stated, which Abbott went up less than 15 minutes before he arrived at the school, "I'm going to shoot an elementary school." He posted all this on social media, and it's insane for those of y'all who've been suspended, put on probation by stupid ass Facebook for making little things, that people can make these threats and Facebook don't do nothing because it's there for us to go back and look at. But it's there. But nobody cares. Nobody cares because somebody saw it.
Right. And if you saw it, then I don't understand why there wasn't a lockdown out the gate.
Because we believe in no snitching. So this is one of the things where, oh, they just playing, we gonna wait them out. I had people, because I was active on social media before the show. Well, parents need to call the cops. Well, first of all, they ain't gonna call the cops because that means they gotta admit that they're a failure. And most people just ain't cut out for that. But between having a good relationship with the teacher, Miss T, or a good relationship with the principal or the counselors and there, so you can get help for your child. This is where we're missing the ball extremely, because as I was talking to my wife earlier, we're so afraid of, we don't want our kids to get categorized as needing mental health, but you're okay with them being labeled as a convict. If you got to pick one or two labels,
yep.
Hey, we all know crazy people and they okay, but don't nobody want to be labeled a convict. But we got to stop this whole thing of let's pray it away, let's hope it away, because it affects everybody. Because once you get Miss Ann to stop caring and she's passionate about her job, you get teachers who I give much love and respect to, they all are neglectful of their home life. They don't have a choice because they're, again, this is my world. They're like cops. They spend so much time protecting and defending everybody else that by the time they get home, they're tired. They can't decompress at work. They got to decompress either in the driveway, the garage, or on the ride, which means that's less time they get to spend T with her grandkids and with her kids, me with my kids and family. These are all things that we lose out on because we volunteered to try to be helpful to somebody else, but nobody seems to care. And at the end of the day, what happens? We want to be isolated. We don't want nothing to do with that. And this is there. This is there because somebody always knows. It's just everybody rather be quiet. And when I talk
or
about
you
this,
want to help.
But I mean, but you won't know because you in school teaching. And as Ann was saying, if one of the students says something to you, like with the last boy whose parents got him the gun, when they said something to him, the parents come but they offend him. But him and the mother exchanging text messages about he feel like he gonna do something. The teacher said the teacher did what she was supposed to do. Now, and I don't know which one of y'all said it, but had the teacher said, why is T or why is Ann all in their book bag, why they being nosy? That's a whole nother problem that you may or may not get the backing from. So now it's like, well, I want to mind my business, but you want to go home. So Miss T gonna keep being nosy. She gonna keep being nosy because she want to go home
every day.
But she ain't gonna take but so many write-ups, and she realized, you know what, I'm gonna go back to State Farm. State Farm ain't bothering me like this. And it's gonna get to a point where when she feels like it's affecting her children, as much as I love doing this, my children are more important. And that's that cycle that we keep going to. Because as I've been so painfully schooled that most parents are seeming don't really care. You got 20-30% maybe, if we lucky, 40% of the parents care. And those are the ones you really don't need to talk to. Because if my school said, hey, we're gonna put an armed officer up here and BDUs and he gonna have a assault rifle, well shit, I'm behind it. Let me know if I need to volunteer. But most parents gonna be like, why are you doing that? And those are be the ones who want to come up there and raise hell with T, want to come up there and raise hell with Ann. And so now everything gets pushed behind. Because how can you concentrate on getting a new curriculum to keep the kids up to speed when parents want to talk to you and they want to distract you with, because they don't want to teach their kids to read. They don't want to teach their kids to spell. And so now you got the curriculum, the education portion. Now, and got to nominate 12 teachers to go to firearms training to be part-time police. And she got to carry a gun. So now we got to redo the laws for the guns. Now you got to get to know the parents and got to secretly call parents to see who got a military background or police background and ask them to come to meetings so she can feel safe and she get up there and talk, or when parents want to come in mass. That's insanity. That's insanity. And what's insanity again? Doing the same shit over and over and over again. At what point of these killings, of these mass shootings, and somebody said, oh, well, when it happened to them, they'll change. But it won't. Remember the softball game where the Senators got shot?
No,
it didn't change shit, but they got shot playing softball. It ain't gonna change if it's them. We're so tied to this Second Amendment BS that, yeah, and should be able to carry a handgun. I believe everybody should have access to a handgun. There's no reason to have access to an assault rifle. There's no reason that these kids can get these ballistic vests legally anywhere with receipts. And it's well, they got them legally. Guns don't kill people. No, it ain't people. It's stupid people who have something and they letting people know, but nobody cares because, well, we don't want to label them. They just acting out. When we were kids, and I ain't sure how old you are, but all the rest of us, we real old. When we were acting out, we were just talking. These millennials,
they're not talking now.
They're not talking. When they put shit up, they really mean it. When they say they're going to do something, most of them are meaning it. They leaving a trail behind. Ain't none of these as covert as we want to believe they are. They're telling people. The last boy told his mom and dad they bought him a gun. Are we gonna give it to him for? What the fuck does an 18-year-old need a gun for his birthday for?
Exactly.
The fuck.
Right. And see, that's the thing that I don't understand partially. Like, you want me to be 21 to go buy a drink, but at 18 I can go buy a gun.
I can kill
like, where's
somebody.
the sense in that?
I think one of the first solutions is going to be putting children back in children's place. We society, government, whomever you want to put the blame on, allows these children to be little adults, tell people what they are going to do, what they're not going to do. You can't tell them absolutely anything without them being able to run to DFACS or run to the police and say, oh, my mom jacked me up. Big damn deal. Big damn deal. Your mom jacked you up. Another thing I think is parental presence. I'm the type of parent that just on a random Wednesday and I'm not doing anything on my lunch break, I'm going by the school table. Hey, I popped up at the school before this semester and my daughter was out in the hallway. You're locked out outside. She would ghost white when she seen me because, mommy, what are you here? I just stopped her to see how things was going and look at you outside. She wanted to tell me, oh, no, mommy, I didn't. Let me tell you something. These people don't get paid enough to sit and deal with you. They don't get paid enough to single you out and make you stand outside. Whatever this man came outside and said you did, you damn did it. And I'm gonna bust your ass when we get to the house. We're not gonna go back and forth. Well, what's your part? Well, he said, no, damn it, you did it. You did it. Right. I know my child. When you give me that look, I know you did it. You did it.
Don't act like you don't know your children.
I'm not the type of parent that's going to embarrass my child and cuss you out and do all of that, but they can reassure we're going to get it handled. We're definitely going to get it handled. But that's only because I randomly popped up at the school that day. Nobody called me. Nobody sent me a message. Nobody sent me a note. If the note came home with her, I'm going to never see it. However, just because my spirit said move that day, I got off my ass and I went to that school. But that has to be something that I'm doing 2-3 times a month because I know my child. I know my child, if I'm not on her head, and she's not doing what she's supposed to do.
And it's so crazy because to fix a problem, we got so many different things we got to address. And yeah, for me, I want to address the safety first so that 10 Ann can do their job without having to worry about somebody walking up on them. That when I call Ann the second week of the school and say, hey, Miss Ann, my daughter got this homework and I don't understand it. She'll be like, okay, good, because I'm calling at the beginning of the school, not 2 days prior to. But she don't need to be paranoid about, here he go. Because that portal thing works. I've seen it. Everything is there. I really don't need to call the teacher for nothing. I can inbox, I can say, what's going on with this? She'll tell me, well, your daughter ain't turning in her work. That's why she got these grades, because it's on there. Mr. Simon, Mr. Simon, Mr. Simon. So what am I calling Miss Ann for? What am I calling Miss T for? My daughter ain't turning in 3 assignments. Well, Miss T, can you give her a chance to turn in? Like Miss T, like she knew she was supposed to turn an assignment 30 days ago. 30 days. Not yesterday. She knew.
And you're going to hold them accountable in your home about not washing the dishes, and you're going to bust their ass about not washing the dishes. But I'm not supposed to hold them accountable about my homework.
Right, because washing the dishes is more important than education. We know this.
No,
and then Darren, I hear you also. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. T.
Oh no, I was going to say you're right, and it's also where the parents' priorities are. I have a parent sent an at-risk letter. I never saw her. She sent her child to school with a $600 watch.
Yep.
Oh.
I teach first grade. He traded the watch for a set of magnets.
Fidget spinner. They don't care.
Came to the school. The little boy got his magnets back. You didn't get the watch back. You came to field day, walked up on the little boy. I said, number one, it would not have been mine. Let's get that clear. Number two, you sent him to school with a $600 watch. She asked me, what was I going to do? I said, I'm not going to do anything. Number one, I didn't see the watch. Number two, I didn't buy the watch. You bought him a $600 watch and he can't read the numbers on the damn watch.
Exactly.
Get yourself together. I said, I can get the principal for you if that's who you want to talk to, but I'm not going to do nothing. Be very clear. It's about
priority. Also, Darren, I wanted to add in. I know you're speaking of the shooters, Darren, but the protection has to start on a smaller level in order to go there. I'm more worried about having to fight a child and a parent than I am worried about an active shooter walking into my school. So I would much rather start with the protection there, and then we can make our way up to the big leads. But right now, the chances of a parent walking in and wanting to swing at me and I have to whoop their ass is much greater than me having to deal with an active shooter.
Let me tell you what happened to my grandson. He was subbing in Clayton County, and he asked, this is what he said to me. He asked the student when he came in, where are you coming from? The students told him. And he said, okay, have a seat. And as soon as he told him that, the kid went off. This is middle school. And he went off, started cursing while you riding my dick, I'm gonna call my cousins, and lo and behold, he FaceTimed the cousins, his social media, here we go again. He FaceTimed the cousins, and the cousins showed up at school. And so the school let him go, and I know why they let him go, because it was a safety issue. If this kid is gonna be able to do that and call these cousins, and I never got to whether these were teenage cousins or adult cousins, and it doesn't matter, cousins, okay? But the fact that he called them and they showed up at the school is a problem.
Absolutely.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
I agree with Roy. I agree with Mo. You know, where is the system in place? You do have a lot of veterans out there who could help out in the school systems. But here again, we are in a generation of individuals who, I don't want you saying anything to my child. I don't want you correcting my child. Well, don't send your child to this environment if that child cannot be corrected. And I have told parents that since I've started working with them way long ago, if you do not want your child corrected for something that they've done, then do not put them into this environment. And that's where the problem lies. So, Ms. Ann, you're right. It does start on a smaller level. It starts on a level where number one, we need to educate parents on, you know, what the school is actually for, the reason for the children being in school, you know, and then educate the parents on school etiquette, okay, on how you address. You know, you go to parent-teacher conference, the cutoff date for parent-teacher conference. You can't call me, somebody said, I think Ms. T said, the day before the last day of school and ask me a question about your child. You know, and so it begins with educating. What do you say, Darren? Each one teach two? It becomes with educating, because we, you know, when you think about the school shooter, look at it. We are actually living in lawlessness. We are in it. We are so far in it. And it begins with educating. We need to start educating. And we can't wait for who's the president? Joe Biden. We can't wait for Joe Biden or Kamala to do it. It starts on a lower level. So that when we start it down here, we have to unstigmatize mental health. That's number one. We have to unstigmatize it. Okay. You know, when we talk about ADHD, I got it. Okay. When we talk about OCD, it took me a long time to learn how to manage mine. Okay. And so those things are real. And so we have to, it's not a label. It is not a label. It is something that I have had to learn how to maneuver my way through, maneuver my way through the anxiety and the depression. And so we have to unstigmatize that, in addition to understanding that it is so much trauma that has been perpetrated in our community by us on us, okay? By us, we are doing the trauma to ourselves. We're doing the trauma to our children. And like I say, effed up children make effed up, did I say effed up? Yeah, effed up children make effed up adults.
And you know what I always talk about? Nobody wants to be accountable and responsible. It's so much easier to blame Ann or T for my kid ain't doing something. The last couple of generations of parents wanted to be friends. What's our parents' favorite phrase? I'm not one of your little friends. Most of these parents now want to be somebody's little friend. Oh, I want them to have it better than me. I don't want to be so strict. I want to give them the ability to, I tell everybody a story about the little kid that was selling drugs, where his parents gave him his own bedroom complete with his own door lock, not the twist kind, but he had his own deadbolt that they didn't have a key to, because they didn't want him to feel like he wasn't an adult. So he could bring 30, 40-year-old men in the house to sell drugs. But these parents don't want to be accountable and responsible. It's T's job, it's Deb's job, it's Ann's job, it's somebody else's job to raise their kids. It's somebody else's job, but it's my job to discipline my kids, but it's your job to raise them. And my kids don't act up because I know this. So when you're saying they act up, it's just because you don't want to do your job. You're lazy. And we can't progress because nobody wants to be accountable. Nobody wants to say, damn, you know what? That's on me. Trent said earlier, that damn portal cost our older daughter a lot of privileges, because when something was said that wasn't on that portal, there wasn't a lot of questions asked. If a teacher said she didn't do an assignment and it was 3 days late from 30 days ago, she lost privileges. She lost it. She lost it. Hell, COVID probably didn't mean much to her. She couldn't leave the house no damn way other than to go to school. And Bobby wants to know, what kind of authority does a teacher have? And I'm
none.
I don't have none.
Not even in their own classroom anymore.
None.
But what kind of responsibility do they have? If they don't notice something about a kid, then we're going to go on. Why didn't you notice the kid was like this? Because you can't ask questions, because now you're being nosy. And it's that double-edged sword with their concern. Most teachers are parents, so they're doubly concerned because they know what it's like. They care more for your kids than you care for your kids, so they're overreach. And a lot of times they do overreach because it works for them. And it's got to suck as a teacher for a kid to come and tell you that he's either being abused, malnourished, or can't get something at home, and you're the only somebody he can talk to. Because what do? If you tell, he's going to be removed, but in the process, he's going to get more abused. If you don't tell, it's something you got to live with. If you do tell again, the parent is going to come jumping in your shit because you all up in their business. Oh, Miss Ann, you telling because you must want my husband or boyfriend, so you trying to be messy. Yeah. She don't know your
But teachers are mandated reporters. Teachers are mandated reporters. Yep. They have to tell. We have to tell. If they, and like I tell my kids, I'm gonna tell you straight up from the jump. If this goes on, I'm telling it. Everything else is between the two of us, This is something I told, I won't be at my alternative school next year because I'm going into my other school 5 days a week. But the thing that I told the social worker at my alternative school is, at the alternative school, you're already behind. We're already behind the 8 ball. We're already behind, and it's no way if you have the alternative school can hold 65 kids. So you got 65 kids and I'm one therapist in the building with 65 kids. it's no way in the ham sandwich that I can counsel 65 kids by myself, being realistic, okay, provide therapy. And so what needs to happen is, I said to her, next year, when the next school year comes in, it needs to be mandatory that every time a kid comes into the alternative school, they have to participate in parent training, parent, whatever you want to call it, parenting groups, however you want to call it. Because if you don't, you are, that it's like a guinea pig on that wheel. It's just gonna keep going and going and going, and it's not gonna get any freaking where. You know, I have one kid, middle school, on my caseload, and we're talking, and I said, but I just caught you in a lie. My mama lies. Yes, my mama lies. So you learn to lie too, like your mama. Okay. Mm-hmm. You know, and so if they don't put that in place for next year, you know, what are we doing? And so I think that's a small step in order to get these kids. My main focus when I work with one that is at the alternative school, what do you need to change before you go back to your home school so you don't have to come back over here? What do we need to fix? What do we need to work on? But if I'm only working with the kid and I can't get the parent engaged, I can't get the parent to come in and say, okay, come on, mama, let's figure out what's going on. Let me teach you. I'm not trying to tell you how to parent your children. I just want to teach you some skills so that when you go home, what we're doing here, you can take it home and work on it. Okay. So I think that's a small step right there. It may be something that can be instituted, you know, in the school systems, period. Okay. Because they don't come with instructions. These kids don't come with instructions, but parents need some instructions. They need some instructions. Yeah.
Ann, let me ask you a quick question. How many kids do you think need counseling over the summer just to deal with the shooting?
Every last one. No, not to deal with the shooting, to deal with life. Every last one of them.
I mean, I'm gonna get to the life, but just to deal with the aspects of shooting, knowing they're gonna come back next year and nobody, because now, like I said, school is out, and Deb, how are they going to allow y'all to do counseling through Zoom or whatever while school is out? Because they're going to carry this trauma, this specific trauma for 2 months with no kind of intervention. Yeah. So now you got to deal with life. Now I got to deal with the fact that I may be scared to go to school because now everybody I see on the way to school, when I'm walking to school, every time I see an adult, every time I see somebody, I'm a little bit more nervous. I don't want to walk to school, mama. Now you got to drive me to school or I got to catch the bus. And everything comes with it. Everything comes with its own separate issue that won't get resolved now for at least 60 days. So what's the solution now? Because the school year is ending and we can finna send them and all their issues home to the parent who already ain't able to cope with them.
I do
not that they're not able, they just don't.
Huh? Right. There's a very clear distinction there. But I mean, you got summer school and stop, baby. You know, they have all these different things that they implement: Saturday school and summer school. And so if they can go to summer school for reading and math, then they should be able to go up there and talk to somebody in the same way.
And Google the same way you Google which bar you and your homegirls is going to go to. Google resources that can help your child throughout the summer. A lot of, at least 70% of these parents are on Medicaid. Medicaid has a laundry list of things and resources that you can put your child into for free. You don't pay a single dime. If your child is on a merit group, and I think Peach State, they can go to the Boys and Girls Club for free. But guess what? They don't know this because they're not interested in going to the Boys and Girls Club.
They don't ask.
So there's so many things, so many ways. Like I said, Google is their best friend. Get on there. Google free programs, Big Brother program, mentorship. It's there. The things are there. You have these people sitting there twiddling their thumbs because nobody is utilizing these resources. They're there.
I had a parent last summer to tell me, the client was at the Boys and Girls Club, and I'm very familiar with the one that they were going to. And I told her, I said, oh yeah, I have a relationship with them. I said, you know, I used to work there, et cetera, et cetera. And she says, no, I don't want you going there, talking to her. And I said, why? She says, I don't want anybody to know she's in therapy. I said, well, the only way they would know she's in therapy if you told somebody or she told somebody. I said, because a lot of time my presence in the building is I'm just walking around talking to the kids and saying, hey, and I can pull, her to the side. This is like, no, so yes, I do therapy during the summer. It's semi-difficult to keep them engaged during the summer, even though I have high schoolers. So I try to keep them as independent as possible. Now, if they don't engage, then yes, I'm calling your parent. But for the most part, I do services during the summertime. All of the school-based therapists still work with their clients during the summertime and even take on new clients from the same school during the summertime. I have 3. I mean, today was graduation. We didn't have school. This is the last week of school, and I just got 3 new referrals that I picked up for the summertime, for the new school year, summertime in the new school year. So yeah, to deal with all of that. But we have to have those conversations, about, we have to have some real conversations. We have to keep it 100. Yeah, we have to keep it 100.
Just a complete sidebar. I take my hat off to therapists. Me and my daughter had a very rocky year last year. Some kind of way we lost each other. Like, we were the best of friends, talk about everything, but somewhere social media, that's what it was. Social media came in. She felt the need to be what she saw on social media, couldn't decide whether this was real or that was real. Mm-hmm. I went to the end of the earth of what I can do. And I finally had to tell myself, this is above you. This is completely above you. This is not a mom moment, okay? Figure out what you're going to do to help her. I sent my baby to therapy. About a year and a half. It was the best money that I ever spent in my life, because she went in there and she poured her soul out. All things that I felt like she should have been able to do with me, but that was just me on a power trip of wanting it to be myself that solved that issue. It was completely above me. And once she went in there and she got an understanding, she was able to come home and say, you know what, mommy, well, when I don't do things that you like, I don't like how you talk to me. Broke my soul. Broke my whole entire soul. But without that lady giving her the tools that she gave her, she would have never had the courage to come to me and say those things. So at that point, I had to do some reflection, like, okay, do you be yelling at her? Do you? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you go off immediately. So it made me check me to say, well, what are you doing wrong? How do you make yourself more open and make her more comfortable to come and talk to you, even when you're not going to like what she's saying? So I think you guys are absolutely amazing people. You guys don't get enough credit either. I owe everything. I got my baby back thanks to therapy.
Yeah.
I did too. I did as well.
Let me correct you on something, Ann. You got your daughter back because you admitted that you needed help.
Yes.
Therapists help. But if we don't take accountability and responsibility for what's going on and quit telling a lie that my daughter's my best friend, even though you don't know shit no more, once you realize that you weren't that, again, which is why I have been looking for you for the longest. Every time you tell a story, you say something that's taboo that women can't admit to. But you lost your daughter. You were not afraid to send out for help. So don't get me wrong. I love what Dr. Deb is doing. But if parents don't acknowledge where they're losing, they keep that lie going because they don't want to appear to be failures. You said, I lost my daughter. You didn't say my daughter was this. You said, I lost my daughter. That's a very impactful statement, which means you know that you were a part of the issue. And that is something that we have to do. When again, is it the teacher who's doing something, or is it me not reinforcing what I can? I don't know everything y'all doing in school. Now, Lord knows I don't understand most of it. Did you talk to the teacher? Because when I email her, I'm asking, have you said something to her? She tells me, no, your ass is grass. That won't happen. We're so prideful. We know everything. So and again, that's why I wanted to have you on the show, because you will say things that go outside being politically correct. But go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry. I just had to let Ann know.
Oh no, I was gonna say I agree. My daughter, it was kind of the same thing. She went from, kicking it with mom, and I was kind of everybody's mom, so I was kind of tuned in with everybody to she didn't want to be bothered. And I said, I know that in our community it's frowned upon. I was like, but this ain't my portion. I don't know how to help. And I wasn't, at first I was like, I want her to talk to me, and I think she should be able to talk to me. And I finally had to get to a place like, well, help her, she not talking to you. So do you want her to talk to somebody else and get some understanding, or do you want her to talk to you? And I said, I want her to talk. And so I found her a therapist, young girl, and went in for the first visit, and I talked to her for maybe 10 minutes. I said, this is what I see. Now you do what you do. And my daughter, it would be times where I'd be like, mom doesn't have gas, I can't get you. And she would be like, no, we gotta go. No, we gotta go. I gotta go see Dr. Petro. We gotta go. And got to the point where she was going every week and she wasn't looking for no excuses. She needed to go. And it was such a shift. You know how they say, like, when you're with kids, you can tell when the light bulb goes off. It was one of those moments where I looked at her, just in just a random conversation, and she, she was telling me, what was going on, how she felt, and I was like, damn, I missed all of that. Like, I didn't peep none of that. But she got, I won't say the courage, but she got the courage from talking to her doctor to sit down and be like, yo, ma, this is what it is. And we have to be willing and at a place where we're like, okay, my kid needs some help. And then you have to be able to accept what they do, because I got homework every week, just like my daughter did. This is your portion. This is what you have to do. And I did my homework just like she did. And so you have to have that. You have to be willing to say, you know what? Something here is fucked up. I need help. Let me get the help. And then use the tools that you get. If you're not gonna do it, then what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah.
In this age of information, it's a choice to be a bad parent. And Ann said the same thing. We can keep, a lot of people say, oh, my kids needs this, but it ain't the kid, it's us. We need help parenting. When me and Trina had an issue with our daughter, she gravitated to this one teacher. Guess what we did? We relinquished. I made a post before, and I had a therapist come on here and tell me, oh, no one else, I wouldn't let my daughter do this. If my daughter, the post was about kids having sex. And this is a therapist. She said, if my child has sex, she got to go. If she want to act like an adult, I'm going to put her out. I said, you a child therapist? You realize having sex is not an adult issue. Most people don't wait to, and this is what she stuck by for the longest. And I'm like, damn, I really hope you ain't got no kids coming to you, because you're going to tell the parents to put their child out for having sex?
Exactly.
That's an adult. Girl, let me call somebody now to get you disbarred, because that's the craziest shit I ever heard.
That was out of line.
But we gotta be accepting of the fact that sometimes this shit is above me. As great as I think I am, and as good hard as I'm trying, this is above me. I'm glad that I can. What's up?
I want to jump in on something before you get too far out of it, because there's 2 points. The one that you made, and then that one both Ann and T made. And the thing is, it's about the accountability, which is something that we constantly, and you constantly preaching to people. What we have to realize is that one of the problems we have as a community, and I'm going to say this, when I say we as a community, y'all know we're an unapologetically Black network, so we talk to issues that affect us as a people, more so than anything else. And the biggest challenge that we have is that, well, it was done that way when I was growing up. We all talk about how things were done differently when we were growing up. But the problem that we have to realize now, and the difference in what times when we were growing up and what our children are dealing with now, is the access to information. And I think that's something that people don't take enough heart to, because we used to ask mom and daddy why something was, and they'll say, because I said so. Well, we had to search through 30 different encyclopedias and go to the library for 3-4 days to try to prove them wrong, when our kids can pick up a phone and be like, hey, Google, hey, Siri, what is A, B, C, and D? And if it's anything different than what we said, they're going to be like, excuse me, what are you talking about? And so we have to take accountability and being able to release that fact and let our egos go. And that's something that we as Black people have a very difficult time in doing with, especially when we feel challenged. We have to be able to step away from our ego and let common sense take over. Like you said, Ann and T did exactly what needed to happen. They realized, I can't do this. There is something that has happened. I was Ace Boone Coon 3 days ago,
And day 4, I don't know what the hell who this child is sitting in front of me. I need somebody else that can talk to that person. And so we have to stop thinking that our egos are what's going to keep us in line with this, and allowing ourselves, not just our children to be human, but allowing ourselves to be human and not feel like we're being failures because we no longer understand the child. You know, because the world is so different in how our children see things versus how we see things. And, you know, we talk about, this is one of the things that we talk about, in the fact that we, as our age group of people, Dr. Deb, how old are you? If I know,
old enough to know better.
See, okay, because
she's 25.
She's 25 with some seasoning on it. Okay,
actually, I'm 38.
Okay, so this is one of the things that we say. Those of us who are between the ages of 60 and 45, we are the immigrants into the digital age, meaning that we were the first group of intelligent, not intelligent, but conscious people who came over from, like I said, encyclopedias that everybody had in their house to being able to digitally search for information and have it at your fingertips. But guess what? These children that we're talking about, these children who are 35 and under, that is, well, not 35. Let me change that. Let me say children who are 30 and under. We'll people who are 30 and under. That is the world that they have always known. And that is a different mentality when you have to, and that's for everything that you have to deal with when you've always known that there's always been information at your fingertips. And so we've got to be able to now respond in like senses, and knowing what we have to release and let our children either get help some other places or us get help in other places, understanding them. It's not just about them understanding us. We've got to be able to get that help to understand them as well.
Yeah, let me just add to that. So now it went from go ahead and look that up in the dictionary to go ahead and Google that. So I agree with what Roy was saying 100%.
And the times are so different. We grew up where most of us had a love / respect / fear of our parents. These new parents are not requiring that. They want to be liked and liked. When I hear parents say, I don't have access to my child's Facebook account, their social media, what kind of shit is that you talking? What the heck? You don't know what they're posting? Now, I dated a girl a long time ago. She said, yeah, my son won't accept my friend request. That little one don't need a phone to access to nothing. How in the hell are you asking a 14-year-old for access? Because I don't want him to think I'm spying on him. Well, that's a parent's job to spy on us.
Right. I need you to know I'm spying on you.
I don't want you to be confused about it, because my daughter, that was the trade-off. You want one, okay. Don't change no passwords, don't change no email addresses. And if I see something crazy, we about to have a conversation.
Watch my son was at high school. He got
even
a text message. And the text message was from a female. And it was very
explicit.
Obscene. It was obscene. Okay. And so I got his phone, because you can't keep a lock on the phone. I'm paying the bill. You cannot keep a lock on the phone. Okay. And so when because occasionally I need to check it. And he's 30 now. And so when I checked it, I sent her a message back. I said, excuse me. I said, I am going to get in touch with your mother, and I'm going to let your mother know this is the kind of stuff that you're sending to my son, because here's the thing, okay? Had he gotten into the conversation, she could have very easily flipped the script on him, okay, and made it seem like he was the instigator, even though she's sending the picture out.
Exactly.
Here we got a problem, because now you want to put a label on him that he's in possession of porn or whatever. So I went through the whole gamut as a law enforcement officer. I will charge you with child pornography. You will never be able to do this. I will tell you the whole 9 yards. She stopped texting. She never texted him again. I don't know what conversation they have, in school, but I'm paying the bill. We need to have, I need to know what's going on. I need to have access.
And I don't give a damn how you feel about it.
Okay, I don't. I don't.
Because the reality is you don't have to have a phone. It's a luxury. You do not have to have a phone.
Because I had quarters. I got to the payphone when I wanted to talk. If I needed to talk. So
I had minutes.
be clear.
It's
Right.
part of the
You know, and this
Constitution
is
that they can have phones.
Yeah, that's the conversation I have with a lot of my kids.
Stupid.
You know, with my clients, this is my phone. And I'm like, yeah, it is. I said, but where'd you get it from? My mama gave it to me. My daddy gave it to me. I said, okay. I said, well, who pays the bill? My mama. I said, well, then it's a phone that your mom is letting you use. Okay.
Right.
Don't get it twisted, because yes, you're right. They have so much access, and a lot of times the information is disinformation and misinformation that they're getting. When I was a resource officer, I used to tell them, like about when we talk about shootings, going back to shootings, you shoot somebody, they don't come back on the next episode. You kill somebody, they do not come back on the next episode. This is real. That's Memorex. Okay. And so getting them to understand that process, because the mindset, well, I kill them, they'll be back next week. No, this is not one of those TV shows where that happens, So getting kids to understand what's real and what's not, what's true, what is the truth and what's not, because they look at social media, and it's glamorized and it's highlighted and it's the glitter and the gold. And, I had my son and I had two foster sons, and they came home from school and everybody wanted to be a thug. And I said, dude, y'all live in the suburbs. There are no thugs in the suburbs, I'm a thug. I said, well, tell me what that means, as a resource officer, kids want to, they want to be in gangs. I said, okay, I'm going to drop you off in Compton. Let me drop you off in Compton and see how long you'll last as a gangbanger. I said, I don't think you're going to last. I said, you live in the suburbs, dude, So what they get is the glamorized part, and all that glitters is gold, and they think it's the gospel.
They get the edited version.
Right.
Yeah.
And none of them have no hands no more. Like, you can't just fight.
Nah, they ain't about their life.
See, the TV will show you the 50 Cent, right? Got shot several times and lived. But they don't glamorize the Tupacs and the other people that got shot and died.
Yeah.
So
They didn't make it to the next episode.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what they need to show.
It is 7:56. I just want to thank y'all. Y'all gave me a headache. Because I know TNN, I appreciate y'all. This is the first time y'all been on the show. But what we like to do is present problems and then come up with solutions. Other than that, everybody's just whining and bitching. And like I said, I got a simple solution for the guns, but I see now after talking with TNN, we need to work on more solutions. So I'm gonna get these ladies, if I have to kidnap them or bribe them, to come back so we can talk about getting parents involved and what they can do to help the process, so that you ain't leaving your kids as total strangers to understand your little badass kids. But I wanna thank them. I'm gonna let them tell you who they are, except for T, because I know she wanted. So if you see her picture in the post office, just ignore it. But ladies, I'm gonna let y'all say y'all parting shots, and tell us what tell people what they need to know about your job or whatever it is you want to tell them. So T, I'm gonna let you start first.
Okay. I teach at a public school in Rockdale County Elementary School, so I'll just leave it there. And really, from my perspective, what we really need is more parent involvement all across the board.
I agree.
And that's just it. So thank you for having me, and I'll come back whenever.
I got you now. I got your inbox now. We there. Principal and my buddy. I told my wife about you the first time I met you on Robert Show. I said you would love this woman. She is just like you. She speak her truth and she don't care what nobody think or how they feel about it. So, Principal Ann, tell us who you are.
I completely ride my own wave. I respect everybody. I demand respect from everybody. In my parting comments, I just want to tell everybody, if you do not have a village, if you're not a part of a village, create the village. The village is what's going to bring us all back together. The village is what's going to get our children where they need to be. The village is how we're going to get ahead. The village is where the safety is going to come from. As I say on my other show, every night, if you haven't stopped to tell the people that you love them, tell them right now. You don't know if the next minute is guaranteed. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show. I enjoyed it so much, and I hope to be back.
Oh, you gonna be back. You don't even get a choice in that. I ain't scared of your big boyfriend. How about that? I ain't scared. I'm over here. And y'all know how I'm a Southern gentleman. So Dr. Deb, tell us what we need to do for the summer, especially in preparing our kids, the ones who may be subliminally traumatized by the shooting, parentheses S, because there have been so many. How we can help with that, plus the transition back into school.
If you need to get your children into therapy, okay? I work for an organization called Chris 180. I'm gonna put the plug in. We accept every kind of insurance you can name. We also have grants where individuals can get therapy services and not have to pay anything. If you get them into therapy or get them involved in some positive activity this summer, something that's going to keep them positively engaged, not sitting around with a cell phone or iPad or laptop stuck to their face while they're riding the social media wave. Get them involved in something positive.
Make sure you send me the stuff so I can share it and put it out there too, Dale. So I'm gonna share. You know, I got a bunch of platforms, so I'm gonna share it on all of mine.
Okay.
Mo, what you got for me, brother?
Okay. Just want to let everybody know I'm a 3-time author. I have 3 books, but the 2 that I want to talk about, I have one called The Good, the Bad, and the Blue. D, I think you're reading that right now, and it's about policing in America. And I have a second book called Perforated Fiber, and it's actually an autobiography. It's about my life, and it's something I put together to help some of our misguided or unguided youth out there, just to give them let them know that there's hope out there and there's a way to get by all those roadblocks and obstacles in the way. I also have just started a new Facebook profile called Survival Metaphysics, and the whole goal of that space is to pass down all education, knowledge. It's almost like a rite of passage for young Black boys, so that way we can get the information down to them that they need to have.
What you got for me, Roy?
Not much this week. Everybody just stay tuned. We coming.
Hey, and I'm DVP. I host Random Thoughts with DVP, where we agree on certain things. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have uncomfortable conversations. We're gonna start taking accountability and responsibility, and we're gonna talk about the things that everybody's just scared to talk about, but it needs to be. We got to stop having comfortable conversations and things that are feel good. We got to do better. It's up to us. We can't keep looking out the window and hoping that somebody else is gonna make it better for us. How long are we gonna keep doing that? That's insanity. It starts in the mirror. Start in your own little space, then branch out. We can do this. We don't all have to take the same path. We just need to be trying to get to the same top. Once we get there, we can be there. But we got to start. We got to accept accountability. Build your village. Build your village. It ain't got to be in your neighborhood. Find good people and surround yourself with them. Infiltrate them. Stop letting these bugaboos get in part of you. Like, oh, this person, right? Ignore them. Delete yourself from them. I met most of these people on Facebook. I didn't meet them in real life. When you find them, connect with them. It ain't that hard. It's really not that hard, and we got to do better. We got to quit hoping for the president, the mayor, whoever it is to make things right for us. Stop being a parent if you just want to be a friend. Get on Facebook if you want friends. When you decide you want to be a parent, that's a full-time job. Accept it and stop making these dumbass posts about making $14 an hour. If you're making $14 an hour, don't have kids. That's all I'm gonna say on that one for right now, but I'm gonna make a post on that one for y'all who crying about this money and gas. But I want to thank my guests. They were awesome. I want to thank Roy and my JBN for letting me do uncomfortable conversations where we can be unapologetically Black. And ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all. So y'all know what it is. Peace, popcorn, and chicken grease, and we out.